call our Jefferson County October the 20th meeting to order. I'd like to stand for the invocation, and then we will begin with District 5, and we will go backwards. Okay?
Awesome.
Let's pray. Our most heavenly Father, we thank Thee for those assembled here today to do the work of Jefferson County. Dear Lord, as you listen and digest the things that we're about to say today, dear Lord, please give us the wisdom, the strength, the courage, and the guidance to do the right thing for the citizens of Jefferson County. Dear Lord, we pray for this great country and for unity within all of our citizens. Dear Lord, please be with our management staff as they go about their daily work so that they may truly understand the vision that you have for Jefferson County and its united front. Dear Lord, those that are sick and affirmed with this terrible COVID virus, dear Lord, please touch them with your healing hands and touch the physicians so that they may find the vaccine so we can put this dreaded disease behind us. Dear Lord, we ask you to keep us, guide us, and protect us, and draw us ever closer to Thee. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, Steve.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Sorry I had to miss the other day, but I sure do appreciate the warm thoughts and prayers from my family as we go through what we're going through. I have 4 items for information technology. The first one is an agreement with a 3-year agreement with CDW, and I'm going to ask Shrew to come in. Oh, there he is. Yes, sir. It's for procurement and purchase of IT items. The benefit of this is we get a 1% rebate on all purchases through the year and service costs, which is good because we spend a lot of money on IT stuff.
Absolutely. Yes.
And Shree, I'll let you go through items 2, 3, and 4.
Okay. Good morning, Commissioners. The second item we have is with an addendum to an existing contract with Roads and Transportation Department for our City Works implementation with Tyler Munis integration, and it's just an addendum at 0 cost. The third item is some contract with SHI in purchasing Veronis software. This is the first time we are trying to get into this. With this, we're going to get a good accountability in terms of protecting and securing the county data, and this is going to help us in our audit management. Again, it's a 3-year procurement process with SHI, and it's a total of $290,000 and $19.78. It's spread over 3 years period of time. This is very important for us to have a good accountability from the security perspective. And the fourth item is Dell Financial Services Isilon lease purchase agreement. This is the current technology we currently have for our network attached storage for all the data storage that we do in our data center. We are upgrading this system, and it's again a 3-year lease purchase with Dell. We are already budgeted in this fiscal year for this.
Any questions for Shree?
Move.
All right. We've got a motion second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Yes, sir.
I'm in agreement on number 1, subject to the availability of funds.
Number 1.
Uh-huh.
That's because it all depends on how much we're going to purchase on an annual basis by all the different departments. So there's no attached dollar figure. It is basically everything is, like you said, subject to the budget allocated for each and every department.
Okay.
Just like going to Office Depot through the system, it's the same thing. It's just an easier way, kind of like Parker, an easy way to procure.
We are centralizing all IT procurement and in terms of products and services. And the best part is we get a 1% cash back at the end of the year for all the purchases made. And this is, we are partnering with not only with the county, but with the PACA members also.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And second, I thought I had this on and didn't realize that we didn't, but so I'd ask for unanimous consent for immediate consideration on, I took 10,000 out of my operational to put it towards salaries, and I did not make that happen with them. So if I could get a motion for unanimous consent.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And I'd like for this to be moved to the agenda, so could I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Another item I just had real quickly, we did the, emails went back and forth about the voting, and Theo, our county attorney, thank you for kind of clearing it up and giving us some resolution on it. I think for us moving forward with COVID and future COVID issues, that for us to be able to eventually open up annexes for absentee ballots would be a good thing. Other people in parts of the community I've already heard from, that it would be good to have Gardendale, Centerpoint, Hoover as other locations, as we see so many people here, that it would be good. I know state law restricts that right now, but going forward, I think it's something that we'll have to talk to our legislators about. And that ends my report.
Mr. Knight.
All right, finance. Angela?
Good morning, Commissioner. Item number 1 is the unusual demand report. Item 2, 3, and 4 are the normal purchasing reports for the week of October 1st through the 7th. Item number 5 is the PACA partnership with Randolph County. Item number 6 is a contract for Kavanaugh McDonald. This is to assist with the LPEP evaluation for audit purposes. Item number 7 is with Engineering Services Associates. It's also evaluation for audit purposes, and this is for the landfill. Item number 8 is Bankston and White and Company. They performed the CDBG audit for us. Item number 9 is the schedule of federal awards. That's also performed by Bankston and White. Do you have any questions related to those items?
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. On number 6, Kavanaugh McDonald, OPEB valuation. What have they produced so far? Because this will be a renewal of a contract, correct?
Well, there's actually been some discussion. This is actually the 3rd year of that 2017 contract. The way the contract is written, there was some miscommunication about that. So we actually, it's just a normal valuation.
But is this a yearly thing that they do OPEB?
It is.
Because I haven't seen nothing from them about OPEB.
We do get a report every year that we use to do our journal entries.
Does this tell you how to plan, how much you need for OPEB according to the gas?
It does give information as to how we need to get there. The trust has not been set up. I've done some follow-up with regions. The process started, but we have not gone to actually set up the trust account yet.
Because we budgeted for OPEB for the last 2 years, I think,
We did.
or 3. One we didn't fund, but some we can.
Yes.
Anyway, we'll get together on that.
Yes, sir.
I have a motion to second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye on 1 through 9.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, so on budget management, we have the multiple staff development and individual staff development.
I move those.
Second.
No motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Under budget amendment, we have the first item, which is a budget amendment to increase the budget for tornado shelters in the amount of $694,050.
What this is the carryover from the unspent funds from last year. But we're having to rebudget, add it to the budget in addition to the million we budgeted this year.
So it would be basically 1.7
Correct.
overall for tornado shelter?
So, let me ask this, Mr. Chair, this is not a finance question. So, if there's an interest as it relates to tornado shelter in our respective districts, who do we need to be talking with? Is that Dr. Hamilton, or who do we need to be talking with?
No, this is to talk amongst us.
Okay.
If you got because I've got something that needs to go into an area. Jim's got one that needs to go to Mulva.
And I have one that need to go to Brighton.
And then
So,
you've already gotten some money out of this to go to somewhere.
To Lipscomb.
Okay.
So my point is I just want to make sure of who did I need to speak with in that regard. I just thought that this would be probably the most appropriate time to ask is when you're talking about budgeting. And since we're going to add on to what was already left remaining in the budget.
But these are not the $1 million Taj Mahals, these are the 100 to 200,000 shelters.
That's
that-
right,
that we're
that's
going
right. But again, that what we did, if I'm hearing you correctly, we rolled over because typically we don't, unless we decide to do that, is that you allow this to remain, well, we allowed it to remain in the budget, and then we just added on to it. Is that correct, Ms. Dixon?
Correct.
Is that what we did?
This is actually a budget amendment to the current budget that was passed, but it was based on dollars that were unspent from last year.
Correct.
I move
Myself.
Motion in a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Number 2, community development.
Item number 2 is finance impact of the classification survey as it relates to community development.
What exactly is that?
So there was a survey that was completed from the personnel board, and I think Theo introduced that. And so this is the impact of those changes that needed to be done as it relates to the survey.
There's,
Who's got that survey?
it's,
Or the
I've got
recommendation.
it's in our backup material here. The survey is, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 employees that every year the personnel board, they review positions, and these are those positions.
Okay, well, all I saw in the backup was the classification survey recommendations.
This is,
Okay.
And so this is additional money.
Well,
Right.
that was gonna be my next question.
Yes,
this
this is
starts-
an increase.
So I guess we're just like in a brand-new budget. Why would this information of this survey not be done prior to us doing the budget, so we don't have a budget amendment in the first, 45 days of a budget?
Sound like you're going to have more than one budget amendment.
Yeah.
David.
I don't have any information on the timing of the survey.
it's, they do the survey, and by the time we get it and HR goes through it, this is,
Well, let's see if we can work with them, Mr. County Manager, and
And have it
this
before
a
the
little
budget.
bit of
Yeah.
budget time. Now, how much does this cost in addition to our budget now?
119,280 is the impact of the current budget.
So we have to increase our budget 119,000. Okay? And where do we propose that money's gonna come from? Are we gonna have to take from somewhere else to fund this?
For
We
contingency?
don't have any proposals for any decreases at this point. It would be something we would have to take from fund balance.
Do we have a contingency?
Well,
Also, Commissioners, if the position is filled by the current employee, then we can come back and delete the old position. But we can't count on that till all that testing is done and whatnot.
Well, I agree with Joe. I mean, the timing needs to be a little bit better to where this comes before the budget, and this is included in the budget, so we're not having to make changes. I'm not a huge fan of budget amendments.
This is a change in our pattern and practice of the way we've done business for the last 10 years. Can you remember anything like this going on in the past 10 years? Very seldomly is it done. And it has to be something that's extraordinary to get done. And I'm looking at 2 in a budget that's just begun. It concerns me. I think we need to go ahead and take care of it. But, and as we move forward, there should be a contingent in this budget where you could pull from your contingency.
there it is.
And instead of going from fund balance, And when your contingency is gone, you're gonna have to stop coming with the budget amendments. I would suggest amending that motion that this comes from the contingency instead of from fund balance.
balance, yeah.
Yeah, I think that will help us, maybe be a little more mindful about what's going on.
Where it's coming, we track it.
And then when that contingency's gone, you're gonna have to start saying no. Okay?
I'll make that motion
Hold on,
that
before you
it,
make your motion, if you
Okay.
don't mind, please.
all right.
So, let me ask, Ms. Dixon this. Do you foresee that we will have any additional budget amendments that we can anticipate?
Yes.
So this actually was already approved before the budget process was completed. The financial impact for the survey was not presented at that time, so this is actually information that we got late too. So we didn't have an opportunity to plan. We will work to make sure we get the reports prior to the budget process in the future, so that can be incorporated.
Yeah, because it was like a 2 weeks, but
Yeah.
when the budget hearing ended, and then this on the.
Well, I'm not even, actually, Mr. Chairman, I'm not even speaking in that regard. I'm just saying, do you forecast that there will be any additional budget amendments that would have to be brought before us for consideration?
There are some requests for budget amendments. I don't have a problem, saying no to those budget amendments, but if they're personnel related, I don't know if we have a lot of flexibility.
So the reason why I'm asking Ms. Dixon, because everyone wanted to celebrate you when this budget started, and so we need to continue to do that. You just got to a place of where this is your permanent position, right? Okay, so, here's what I would like to see. That we deal with these items today, but all other requests that we know right now, especially if those are things that we can foresee, that will come, so that it doesn't appear as though we're doing something just kind of, haphazardly. We approaching it very sensibly, especially being that we're dealing with a pandemic budget is what I call it. And so that we can act more wisely. The other thing that I will say is this: I remember, last year, being one of those accused of passing the budget so quickly. And so, I'm hoping that amongst us, that whatever anticipated things that we need from whatever departments that are there, if they gave at least some sort of explanation as to why they're making a request now, as opposed to when we were in the budget process, I would be interested in knowing. I'm sure the chairman should be interested in knowing as well, so that we don't have to make this be something that's a public discussion as it relates to we passed the budget and now we're already trying to amend the budget. That makes sense what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Dixon?
Item number B is for security general services. Initially in the budget process, all of the positions for for the security department were transferred over. This is a request to move 3 of those positions back to general services to assist with funding 3 accounting assistant 2 positions.
And this was talked about too, Commissioners, in the budget. The vacant security officers that came from Cooper Green, that was the intention the whole time as they become vacant. And I don't think they became vacant until recently. So this is fulfilling our plan.
But this isn't a decrease in security
No, sir.
here.
And it's not asking for additional funds.
This is a lateral transfer.
Right. And Angela's done a great job of making sure everything is
Balance.
where it should be, when it should be, so we're going from one budget to another, so she said we gotta do a budget amendment, even though it's not costing anymore.
So moved.
Have a motion, second, on item,
I had on item 2 under A, that come out of contingency.
I did make that motion.
Okay, good.
Millie's.
Good, you got it. Good, all right.
all in favor, please
Wait a
say
minute.
aye. Aye.
Hold on, Ms. Sheriff.
All right.
Are you saying Hammond's 2A, meaning dealing with these,
The community development, just that the money come out of our contingency in the budget, that's all.
We put money in the budget for contingency items, and she had suggested bring it from fund balance, which is a carryover, which you would leave the contingency in place. And what this does, this makes the budget process more realistic. If you have an additional item that comes up and you pull out of money that you had 10 years ago that you're carrying forward, there's really no incentive to make sure that you have a balanced budget where your revenues are equal your expenses plus a short contingency fee. If you pull these expenditure items out of your contingency, that allows your reserve or your carryover to remain there for a rainy day. You don't want to use it for just a normal operation.
sounds
You
like
want
what
to
you're
use
saying in
contingency
essence is
fund.
that you want to keep the budget balanced. And you use
Amen.
contingency fund to do
Yep.
that.
Amen.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. All you gotta do is lay it out. I'm smart. I can keep
There
it
you
running.
go.
Okay, very good.
All right. I have a motion on.
I think she already seconded.
Hmm?
Didn't you
I have a
second?
Motion and a second on
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3. Where are we, Melly? Just
Well,
on,
I think that there was some
You have a
additional
motion
language
and a
that you
second. You need
had
to
for two.
did we do one already?
For 2 and B.
Yeah.
That's what we're working on.
All right. 2 and B1. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, general services.
We have 2 items in general services. It's to close out the books on the construction that was done in HR. The first one is a $125,907 amount that was budgeted that we did not use in that project. And the second one is extending the time for this contract, so we're closing those books out too. So 1 and 2, those are the 2 things for general services.
So moved.
A motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, so we just did a budget amendment to add 119, and now we're putting 125 that we didn't spend, but it is just going into the general fund, right?
Yes.
Why
Is
don't
that
we put it
general
in
fund
the
or capital?
contingency?
Or capital fund?
This was out of capital.
It's not a capital.
That was not a capital,
That was out of capital.
that was not a capital project, the $21 million for HR?
It
Yeah,
was or was
capital.
not?
It was capital.
It was capital,
Yeah.
okay, so that's going back to the capital fund.
Right.
Okay.
Human Resources, Ms. Brown, are you on?
I am. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
So for this resolution was approved, but it needed to be corrected. We had a date correction. It was listed as fiscal year 2021, and it should have been 2019 and 2020, so that's the correction. Also, we had listed some audit items that should not have been included. It needs to be just restricted to the survey, so this is a correction to the prior resolution.
Okay. Do I have a motion on the correction to item
Yeah.
1? Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Brown.
Thank you.
All right, that looks like I'm done.
Okay, Administrative and Infrastructure Committee, Roads and Transportation. Cal, you wanna do that? You want me to? All right. Gotta be quick.
Implementation of city works permitting. That is for our driveway permits, utility permits and all that. We'll put that in city works and make this much better, able to serve our customers online. And then ADM in Jefferson County, Heather's worked with ADM and recruited $325,000 from them to help reimburse us for the work at the fire site. And that agreement is to get that funding for that site. One out there finished, fire's out, they got it grassed, it looks a whole lot better, and it was pretty much a miracle what the guys and ladies did out there under very harsh conditions.
All right, on
Nobody
the requested
told you.
amount,
Go ahead.
from what I was reading, I was thinking it was half from the state and half from us. From reading the backup, but I may have read it wrong. But you're saying 325 from the state?
Yes, sir. Come on in, Heather.
We started with an original estimate, which was the basis of that, but their commitment is up to half.
ADM's half,
Yeah.
so it'd be 162.5.
No, half of the total cost of the remediation, so we originally estimated that their participation would be that up to half.
Okay.
So we're getting reimbursed.
Yes, they're
We're
giving
spending
us-
this and they're
yeah,
reimbursing us.
They're giving us money.
But what was the total cost?
I'll have to get the totals to you, we have a report.
I mean, if this is half, I mean, total is.
No, it's the
It's
whole,
gonna be-
that's all of it. And they'll pay us for
No,
it.
that's not all of
Roughly 700.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That includes our truck rental rates, gas, oil, labor, everything, so.
And so how did we, what budget did that come out of, the R&T from last
Yeah,
year?
came out R&T.
So for example, you know, we bought the trucks already a couple of years ago, but we used the Blue Book rental rate to charge back. The labor was already in the budget under our salaries, didn't pay for anyway. And you had a little bit of materials you had to buy out of your accounts, but it was mostly labor and equipment.
And tipping fee.
Yeah.
The tipping fees were very substantial.
And have y'all engaged our illustrious county attorney to go and sue for that, get that money
He's
back?
already done a lawsuit. Let me be quiet.
These masks are to keep you, but I can see your eyes moving. There.
How much money we gonna get?
How much are two dead turns worth? All right.
Don't we know?
All
That
right.
was,
The statute automatically we're operating under authorizes any reimbursement, so the first step would be to figure out how much the bottom line is here, and we'll go from there.
Great job by your department getting that done.
Thank you, thank you.
I moved that.
Second?
No, I can't move that. It's my,
Well, that's,
good, good way to go.
Well,
You
I
first.
said move the item,
Yeah.
you
I
know.
Okay, good.
Jimmy, you didn't hear.
I'll second.
All right, motion been made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Minutes from the commission meeting October the 8th. Everybody had a chance to read them. Can we move them to the agenda?
Move.
Motion.
Second.
Second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Aye, aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
good. County manager, you want to do this, Tony? You want me to run through them? What do you want to do?
You can run through them.
All right, Christian Service Mission, sub-grant amount, $500,000. Down to Brookside, 82,147. These are all,
I move
coronavirus
items.
relief.
Brookside is 49,507. Their budget was 8.
Yeah, 49,500, I'm so sorry.
I move
49.
125.
You want 125, thank you.
I have just one little typo in one. It says, funding for Christian Service Mission for the distribution of food boxes to food insecure populations in Jefferson County. I guess that should read feed instead of food.
I didn't get it, but what did you
I
say?
got it down.
What did
You're
you say?
right.
It's food and fees.
Oh,
I read it.
Change the second food to feed.
Yeah.
I didn't even like the word insecure, but,
Yeah, I didn't know what that even meant, but,
yeah, is that a legal?
because that could be very much be,
Yeah,
He
another
is-
word they use.
On this resolution, do we need to put related to the coronavirus? Because before the coronavirus, there was an insecure population, the people that really wasn't getting enough food.
How
There's
can
an
you
in-depth-
determine-
There's an in-depth review from Witt O'Brien talking about.
Okay.
But how can you determine if I was hungry Monday and I'm still hungry Tuesday and the pandemic hit Tuesday? How can you tell? It's no way, hungry is hungry.
You have to use different
Well, this
All right,
CARES Act.
help me out there.
I would agree that you should put in the resolution that it says related to COVID-19.
Yeah.
Just for clarity, so we get down to.
Yeah, but that don't mean that you can't get any food cause you was hungry.
No, it's just,
It
just
means
a
you can't pay
so that
for
we
it.
make
CARES
sure
Act.
Yeah, I think they can.
Well, the same people who getting the food that was hungry before the pandemic are the same ones hungry now.
And also, tomorrow is the Mayor's Association meeting, Jefferson County Mayor's Association. We're gonna go tomorrow because, you know, the Treasury Department changed the way that we can fund public safety. So we're gonna go tomorrow to the Mayor's Association and explain this. And so all the cities should be able to wipe out their allocations with the public safety fund.
What does it do? What is the addition? What is the
The,
change?
basically what it says is that the public safety, meaning fire departments, the fire and police, who are actually out in the public, that they'll be able to charge those jobs off to the CARES Act fund.
For the regular salary?
For the, yeah.
Right.
And as soon as you do that, the commission is going to need to know the balance of the CARES Act funding.
We'll
Got
get
it, and those funds. I think that will pretty much take care of the municipalities.
Yeah.
But we need to know what the balance is total, because it's gonna be incumbent upon this commission to make sure that that money gets spent properly and out in the hands.
Also, I would like to bring forward as a new business on Thursday, the health department, they submitted their application for $7 million. It's been approved by Widow O'Brien, we just got it, and I'd like to bring it up as new business. I'll send it out to y'all this afternoon, and we'll bring it up as new business on
I have a
Thursday.
question too. We're not on your part yet, though, am I correct?
Ma'am?
I said, we're not on your part yet,
Yeah.
am I right?
We are.
We are?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because, okay, so excuse me. All right, so as it relates to, I think it's Harvest Community
Yes.
Piece. I noticed that, because I keep up with it weekly, that Widow O'Brien has approved that organization. And so I'm wondering why it's been taking a while for it to come before us. Does it seem like it may be on the way?
Yes, yes.
What is Harvest Food?
What's happened, we have several entities out there providing services, and some are overlapping, and what we're trying to do is to work so that we don't have that overlap. And we have several agencies that we're working with, and Commissioner, they're one of them, and so we'll have that coming forward, yes.
So on the police and fire end, you're saying that during the pandemic, this monies would apply to salaries, would it also include overtime?
Yes.
Okay, and
Well, that was
that should be a
original,
good bit of money.
that was originally, the use of it was for overtime, but now the.
Right.
And
So
there's
they
the,
brought the definition.
It was,
Definition
they
of
were,
what it can be used
you know,
for.
originally it was, they had to be, you had to be very specific in making sure that it was COVID related. You had to lay it out for those employees, but now it's presumed that all public safety workers, which is firefighters and law enforcement who are out on the street providing services, is presumed that it's COVID related.
Let me ask this question, because you didn't make the guidelines, but I'd just be interested in knowing. Certainly always thank our first responders and public safety, but then that would lend itself to the question of whether we call our street and sanitation or public works department. I mean, they're on the front lines as well, just in a different capacity. So is there any specific reason as to?
They have a very, their definition is providing public safety, referring to law enforcement, and to fire departments. And then us in doing that.
Maybe they'll make an amendment to include that and people that working down there on the front line in revenue department, see those people every
Yeah.
day. But
Now, they,
I know, but.
Well,
maybe they'll-
especially, well, the reason why I said that as it relates to like, street and sanitation or public works, you know what I mean? Because, they're pretty much doing it, they're interacting with the public and they're also dispelling a lot of contaminated things we have to deal with. So the explanation really is not for you as much as I would be interested in knowing, I guess that's a Congress question, right? A congressional
well,
question.
and this has been very difficult because they, under frequently asked questions, they, and at one point there were two, they contradicted themselves. Inspector General said one thing, the Department of Treasury said one thing, and so this is where we are. And who, you know, God only knows what they're debating now on the CARES Relief Act in Congress, and so I don't know what that's going to tell at all.
Well, because like I said, for me, it's kind of like the argument between hazardous pay and who that applies to versus CARES Act money to be able to cover reimbursable expenses associated with police and fire. I mean, all of that to me just needs so much more clarification. Yeah, because it's leaving some people out who have also put themselves in harm's way to be able to provide a service. So that's just interesting, just the tone of that. And, yeah. And then, so let me ask this. Our federal lobbyist is Boston Bingham, is that correct? Or do we have a federal lobbyist? I thought that Boston Bingham served in that capacity, is that?
I think we have them engaged in lobbying services, both federal and state, it's just wherever the commission dictates that they would serve.
Where they would function?
Right.
I'd be interested in knowing from them, Mr. President, if we can get Michael Davis or Frank over here and to see what are they kind of hearing on a federal level, to see if there are other departments that we can maybe ask them to maybe help to lobby for, that may even help us in some of our revenue as it relates to, you know, shoring up some of those costs, because I know we've taken care of the Sheriff's Department out of the CARES Act. I'd be interested in any other departments that have public exposure, if they could also be able to help with that. I mean, does that seem unreal?
I don't know anything that you would be able to do this go around, the next go around, but I want to make sure that we're clear as far as this. We have consistently advised that we would operate based on the guidelines that are given by Treasury, and this absolutely is a deviation from their standard position that they had taken about public safety, and so we'll make it clear that the commission is operating based on the guidance of Treasury as it has changed since this time, because originally it talked about, it had restrictions on budgeting and what year that was budgeted for, but they have made a determination, and they have published that law enforcement, first responder pay is allowable, and we're acting based on that guidance from Treasury. And as far as the law enforcement first responder, that is clearly defined, unfortunately, in the law, and it doesn't allow for those folks to put themselves out there on a regular basis, such as road and transportation folks, which in our case, those folks continue to perform those services in public works. But unfortunately, that's a subject for discussion that's been around, not just during CARES Act, but throughout in terms of budgeting and those kinds of things. But this is a deviation from their standard guidance, and we're operating based on that.
And Commissioner, I know that NACO has been extremely involved in providing guidance to the congressional delegation in the House and Senate. So, and also the League of Municipalities has been involved. So there's a lot of pressure on their elected officials. And we'll see whatever they come up with.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Other business has a resolution for Collier Area Fire District to appoint someone.
Move the item.
Yeah.
Motion made second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're about to start, District 2, and the commissioners, I'm going to have to step out in just a little bit, I have a 10:30 appointment. But, I want to remind before I do leave, and turn this over to Madam Pro Tem, that our meeting is in Bessemer. It will be in Judge Hobby's courtroom,
On the third floor of the criminal justice.
third floor of the Criminal Justice Building.
That's the same building we usually go
Yes,
to.
yeah.
Park, same spot, yeah.
It's a very, very small courtroom, so that if you don't have any business down there, this looks like a pretty clean agenda. Zoom in, because this is something that will probably be a very, hopefully, you know, as soon as I say that, it won't be, but a very, very brief and concise meeting that
You're
we
talking
have.
about for the director's Zoom.
Yes,
I was
yes.
gonna say, is
Right, I was about to
this
say, you're not talking about us then.
No.
Good, I ain't gonna go to Bessemer.
Y'all better be there. The directors are on. With that being said, I'd like to go to Commission District 2.
Good morning, Commissioners. Department of Community Service and Workforce Development.
Good morning.
Morning.
Nigel Roberts, Deputy Director of Community Services and Workforce Development. We have 2 items on the agenda. Item number 1 is a resolution authorizing the Commission President to execute an agreement with Bankers Insight Group, LLC, to perform business underwriting services for the amount not to exceed $25,064. Item number 2 is a resolution authorizing the Commission President to sign an agreement with Class Trans to continue to provide senior transportation services in the amount of $401,000.
Mr. Roberts, what is business underwriting services?
These are the services that would provide to give us a credit decision on the COVID supplemental funds that we receive from EDA, funds for revolving loan fund, to make sure we're doing the proper underwriting of those loans. We received an amount of $1.1 million from the Department of Commerce for this round of funding. This funding has to be spent within a certain period of time, and we had Deborah Sasser retired a couple months ago, and this consultant will allow us to move forward with expediting those spending of these funds within the limited time that we've been provided by the Department of
Have we
Commerce.
spent those funds already?
No, sir.
Okay, just, okay. All right, I move 1 and 2.
Second.
It's been first and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Ms. Ann, roll call report.
Alright, so, we have 2 items for Public Works, Community Services, and Intergovernmental Relations Committee.
I'll move item 1.
Second?
Because, Mr. President, you still here, you might as well stay. Alright, so you move 1,
Yeah,
what about 2?
I move 1.
Alright, so do I have a second on 1?
You already have it. Jimmy did.
Oh, you already seconded, okay. Item number 1 has been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Number 2, Hilltop Recycling LLC, receipt of, I'm sure that's construction and debris landfill application. Is that what that is, CD?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
What if we vote no?
Well, so the process is we have to accept the application. There's a law that's passed that.
So how we vote?
Yeah, there's a process about 3 or 4 months down the road where the commission actually has to approve or deny the application. So.
Is there community input on
Yes,
these
there
other
is
parts?
there's gonna be advertisement to the landowners, there will be public awareness session, there'll be a public hearing, and then they'll finally, after all that, there'll be a process where the commission looks at the,
How far is
the
this from
community
here?
and all the environmental
Pretty
impacts.
close.
Yeah, it's probably within a half a mile, a quarter of a mile at the end of Harbor Parkway, near the other landfill.
Where?
It's about a quarter of a mile if you take a right after you hit the end of Barber Parkway, It's just right down there off of Old Mount Olive Road. So it's close to our landfill.
And you've got 13 property owners surrounding
Yes.
It sounds like to me, is this a matter of informational purposes only? Like, we're just acknowledging the fact that,
Well,
that
there is a
they
law
have-
that was passed in 2017 that requires the commission to accept the
The
application.
the
And that's
body
what-
has to accept the application.
Right, but
That's
it
sort of-
sounds more
It's an
procedural than it is
It
anything
is,
else.
it is.
Yeah,
but
it
it's
sounds
required.
perfunctory, but what if we say, I don't accept it?
Well, that sounds, that's,
I'm just-
It is.
Well, I don't want it to come out like county approves new landfill, like,
no,
no.
well, if it's a matter of
Get that-
procedure.
Get that
Your resolution
resolution
is
right.
receiving the
Michelle.
application.
You're right, I was about to say, that's not what's noted, but okay.
I'm not moving.
Yeah, whatever, okay. Do we have a motion on this item to accept this?
Notice that Mr. Stevens has left the room.
Yeah, I know.
All right,
He might as well have
we
stayed.
can all
I
vote
don't know
yes
what he
now,
leaving for.
because it's his district.
All right, so what are we doing on this
I
item?
move the item to accept it only, accept the application only.
Okay,
I'll second that.
all right, it's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, that concludes our meeting for
Let
today.
me ask
Sorry.
something. County manager asked to bring up something as new business, since it's brought up here in the committee. If it's the will of the body, you could vote to move it, you can make it new business now and move it to the agenda.
To the agenda.
And that way-
Was that was on Jimmy's agenda, so
it.
I'll move for unanimous
$7
consent.
million for the health department.
Oh, okay, about the health, the CARES Act money, health department?
Yes.
I'll make the motion for unanimous consent.
Second.
All right, it has been moved for unanimous consent. The motion is for us to look at this item now, to consider this item for committee with the understanding it will go to the agenda on Thursday. It has been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye. And then
All right, it will be
I'll move the item.
You gonna move that
We
to
had to
the
vote on
agenda?
we had to vote on unanimous consent, now we gotta vote on the item.
No, I know Robert's rules.
Okay, all right,
I
just,
got it.
all right.
All right, so it's been moved and properly seconded to be moved to the agenda for Thursday. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, so we have concluded our meeting for today. Thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you.